Okay, this video is probably going to piss some people off, but you know what? It's time to be honest here. Today, we're going to be talking about shame, the emotion. In the mental health sphere, we tend to try to limit negative emotions and see them as bad, right? Like, we don't want to be sad, we don't want to be shameful, we don't want to be embarrassed. Like, we want to produce happiness, we want to produce joy, we want to produce peace. And while happiness, peace, all these emotions are great, at the same time, there's utility to emotions such as shame. And today, I'm going to do some story time and let you guys know something that happened earlier this morning. Okay, so today was gym day, y'all, and woke up at 5 in the morning, went on over to the gym, my 5:30 personal trainer session, and today was upper body day, right? And so at one of the machines, I was doing the pectoral fly, right? So it's like that machine where your arms are, in front of you and you go back, you try to get that back all the way back so that you can work out your back and pecs, right? I'm at the start of my gym journey, right? So I am as thin as a stick. My metabolism's just great, and I'm 26 years old. It's time to get on going with getting healthy, right? So there I am, right? 5:30 in the morning. But as I'm doing it with my personal trainer, right? In front of me, this middle-aged woman goes to the machine in front of me, which is like a leg press machine where, you push out. And in that moment, struggling to do the pec fly at, I think it was like 40 pounds or whatever, I was just so ashamed of myself. And I saw her looking at me and I felt ashamed of how skinny I was. And in that moment, I had a realization, which was that in this case, a lot of people would say that shame is bad, but I actually think that I'm actually grateful to be ashamed. And the reason for that is that there's two paths that we can commonly go down when we feel shame, right? We can either pursue a forward motion goal, like continuing to go to the gym, not wanting to be skinny in my case anymore, right? Or shame can lead to avoidant behavior, right? So we can step back and not pursue it because we just want to not engage with that emotion anymore, right? And sometimes stepping away seems like the best bet. And so I'm making this video because I want you guys to know that shame in of itself can actually be a great emotion. And yeah, just seeing her look at me in the gym struggling, I was like, you know what? I'm going to work extra hard and I'm going to get there. Yeah, I've been just thinking about the mental health space recently and about how it's just like, oh, negative emotions, like, you don't feel ashamed, you're amazing the way you are. Yes, like, shame can be bad, right? Like, shame can be either productive or really debilitating and bad, right? Like, we don't want to be ashamed about things we have no control over in our life, right? Like, for example, a common example would be like if you're a short guy. Yeah, maybe you don't fit the traditional ideal masculinity image that our society has for us, but you can't change it, right? And so being ashamed of yourself for being short has no utility, and thus you shouldn't really be ashamed about it, right? But like, for instance, right, here's another example. Let's say you steal something, right? As a kid, right? You're 5 years old, you're walking around, you see a lollipop in the store and you're like, man, I really want it, but you know what? I don't want to bother my parents right now. Let me just sneak in there and take it, right? And your parents find out. And they're like, Ben, what did you do? This didn't happen, by the way. But what did you do? Like, go back in there and hand the store person the lollipop. And you go in there, you're embarrassed, you're ashamed. You're like, here you go, ma'am. Like, here's the lollipop. I'm so sorry. Like, it shouldn't have happened. In that case, shame is good because what shame does is as humans, we don't like negative emotions and we will do anything to get away from them, right? So in this case, that feeling of shame makes that memory more salient in your head and you're less likely to repeat it, right? And so if we're doing behaviors, for example, like sticking with stealing, right? It's a breach of communal agreements. And so it's not ethical behavior, right? Like you shouldn't be praised or not feel bad for breaching a community law. Now, I'm not saying like if there's an instance of shame in your life that you should view yourself as totally a horrible person, that you're forever defected, right? But I guess I'm just like tired of being in a space where like negative emotions are seen as inherently bad, because you know what? They're not. They're not bad. There's utility to them. You can learn something from them. And they can be a source of great fuel to get to where you want to be in life. Like in my instance, going to the gym, right? So yeah, this is just a video where I just wanted to let you guys know that like shame can be a good thing and like lean into it. But when you're in those instances of shame, you have to take a step back and consciously choose to take the path of using it as fuel to continue forth with the behavior, right? If it's like wanting to get fit, right? Continue to do it, right? Because you don't want to be forever skinny in my case. And like also, if you're a skinny person out there and you like it, all the power to you, right? It's just for me, my value system, right? The values that I want to live by, one of them is health, right? And so when I'm older and I have kids, I want to be able to lift them around. I want to have, good bone density when I'm older. I want to take care of my body because I see it as a temple, right? So for me, being skinny and not pushing myself to develop that body is actually a breaching of the contract with myself, right? So we were talking about how stealing is a breaching of the contracts and the law of the community, right? But we have contracts with ourselves, right? The values that we live by. If you want to be an entrepreneur, right? And every day, all day, you're scrolling on your phone, right? In my opinion, and this is something that I want to become, right, as an entrepreneur. If you're scrolling Instagram and you're not doing anything, like, yeah, you should be ashamed because you're not living according to your values. And so you're breaching the contract that you have with yourself and your future self. And so, yes, feel shame, but then remember not to avoid the shame and to just, shut down, but instead to go forth and to go on that path that leads to fulfilling the contract that you have with yourself. So hopefully this was helpful. If you've enjoyed, feel free to check out my older videos. As always, I hope you're doing well. Stay mercifully relentless. Peace.